She's like playing, you know.
Good morning, everyone. And just like that, Christa gave some music. So we were just talking that we needed our theme song going in the background. And I hear Christa's little doodle-doo. Good morning, everybody. We are so happy to be here today. And we have a kind of cool show today. Something a little different from shooting sports. But, you know, our friends at Bass Pro Shops, they really like to fish too. And so we're going to do a little fish talking today. So get your questions ready about fish. Ask them because we have an expert with us, David from Bass On. We met him in Destin, Florida, and it was so cool. Right, Destin? Yeah, Destin. He has a truck, you all, that is like graphic wrapped like a fish. It looks exactly like a fish. It's so cool. And we're going to talk to him today. A bass, not
it's
just
a bass.
All right, so this is going to be one of those kind of shows. I am already tongue-tied this morning. It is definitely a bass, and I'll kick it over to Christa, and then we'll ask you why it's so important that it's a bass, because you explained that to us when we were in Destin.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, we're home. We are like super home. We have finished our final show and arrived, had a good solid 24 hours worth of downtime, and we are ready to rock and roll this morning. So we've got David Partridge, as Karen mentioned. We met him in Destin.
Here we go again.
I know, right? Destin, Florida. And if you follow along on Shoot Like a Girl, or actually more than one, but a few of the pictures you saw were of his actual truck pulling Santa in a bass boat there at Bass Pro Shops in Destin. Right. So he, as Karen mentioned, it's fully wrapped, just like that bass. And he's got this awesome message and mission. He has another really cool part that's sort of an add-on to his physical truck that we're going to share with you guys today. So, David, why don't you say a few things about yourself?
Well, I'm 53. I'm still chasing the dream. Fishing's always been there for me. It's just being little, growing up, it didn't matter what it was as long as I was catching a fish, and I always loved big trucks. And so as I got older and kind of grew up a little bit, I was like trying to find a sponsorship or to put a rep to get some sponsorship. And I was like, well, okay, well, you know, when you stop and think about all this, the entire bass fishing industry revolves around a bass. I said, and at the time, everybody was doing all these elaborate wraps for sponsors, and here I was sitting with no sponsorship. So I was like, well, why not wrap it like a largemouth bass? You know, because if you take the bass out of the equation, you don't even have the bass fishing industry. And I actually had this conversation with Johnny Morse himself, you know, about what the bass actually means to the industry. And if people don't take time and take care of the bass and actually realize what it is, we have no industry. You know, Johnny Morris would not be where he's at today without it.
So, David, I'm going to say that really quickly. We speak so much about hunting and hunting conservation, but that really rolls over to fishing as well. That are just cross-segmented between the hunting and the fishing industry. I can see a bunch of you on this morning. Let us know. Put out an emoji or hands up or something if you guys have been bass fishing before, or if you'd love to go bass fishing. I have to be completely honest. Bass fishing is a challenge for me. So y'all already know I'm challenged in a lot of areas, you know, turkey call, cooking, all of those things. But bass fishing, I've always been a trout fisherman, and I fish live bait. So for me to work in the bass world where there are worms that are rubber and lures that are metal and plastic and shiny and shimmery and click and
little spinners.
Right, spinners, all those things. It's been a challenge for me, but I have successfully caught one bass in my life. So still really struggling with it. I'm married to a bass fisherman. He loves, he's just a local guy, but he loves to bass fish. Oh, Kelly says yes. Yes.
Yeah. So David, how many bass have you caught? Just to put it in perspective.
Oh, I honestly couldn't tell you. It would be up into the thousands and thousands of them. I said, I go all the time. Don't go as much as I would like to go, But, to me, it's all about catch and release. If I ever keep one, the only time I will keep one is if I go down the river and mama has called me up and say, hey, son, I need something to eat tonight. And she specifically wants bass off the river because of the way they taste there. But that's the only time I will keep one.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about families in fishing, right? So this is a critical.
Yeah. My daughter, and I take her all the time. She actually grew up. She's 10 now, but she actually grew up with me on the boat down on the river. And I didn't make it strictly fishing event. I would take it as just a time together, and we'd fish a little while, and then we'd hit the bank and we'd swing off the ropes down on the bank, and then we'd go for a ride, and then she was finding wildlife on the river, and I mean that was almost like an everyday event through the summertime.
Wow.
She's
a really good point. It's about the fishing, right? Because we're learning something in that, but it's also about that connection, not only with each other.
Yes. Yeah, you can't just make it all about you and the bass fishing, because you got to put yourself, a kid has to be a kid. If they're not getting to be a kid, then it's no fun to them. Then you actually break them from the outdoor experience, and they're just done with it.
Right.
So,
there's so many lessons in life that get learned, either hunting or fishing: discipline, disappointment, excitement and exuberance when you catch a fish. Because, sometimes it's good to know that every time you throw your line in the water, you're not going to catch a fish. That just happens, right?
That's why it's called catching. That's fishing. There's a difference between fishing and catching. Fishing is fishing and catching is catching.
Right.
Yeah, I actually have a great video. Gracie was probably 5, maybe 6 at the time, but she had caught a bass and reeled it up and was sitting there holding it. And she looked at the fish and she says, I'm not touching that. And then she's like, oh, let's put him back so he can live. And I actually sent it to one of my buddies, Steve Parks, from my strike team. And he thought that was the actual coolest thing ever, that a kid already knew that it was correct to go ahead and put the bass back and let it live.
It's the innocence of children, right? They've not been subjected to all the other things in the world, and they say things as they come, and that's an awesome thing.
No holds barred. A kid will tell you exactly straightforward, just like it is. And a lot of times, I think adults should listen to what the kids are actually saying about that, especially in the fishing and the hunting stuff, because they learn exactly from you.
True. So, Sandra Smith, one of our followers, mentioned the word patience, right? And that is something that we can use in the field, on the boat, or in real life, particularly here in 2020, as we are patiently awaiting so many things in our country today. So, Karen has asked a question. Karen, share the question you just asked.
Yep. So I asked, what else did you learn fishing? And so, there's so many lessons that we learn while we're fishing. So what else have you learned fishing? So David, let's talk a bit about your truck. So y'all, I got to sit in the truck. I did not get to drive it. I tried. But this truck is pretty awesome. And you do a lot of great volunteer things with that truck. You go around and I think that maybe you were recently dressed up as the Grinch.
Yes, I did. I do a lot of events, and it depends on what season it is and what time of year. Like right now we have, holiday, of course, and who's better than a Grinch? And so I actually have a Grinch costume, and I will take my truck and set up town for our Main Street market and stuff for Christmas, and I'll dress up as a Grinch, and the kids just love it. They come up there. First, they're fascinated with it's a monster fish. The kids call it the monster fish truck, and they just love the truck, and so I just hang out with the truck, and then the kids come up there and they see the truck and see the Grinch, and they're like, "We love you, Mr. Grinch." I mean, it's the coolest thing ever.
Dress up as the Grinch for the live. That would have been fun.
Yep. And
I didn't want to scare people the first time.
Speaking of the Grinch, and Christmas and presents for kids. So Bass Pro offers your truck in a remote control RC car. Tell us about that. I think you have one you can show us.
Yes, we do.
Check that out, y'all. So now you can see kind of what his truck looks like, but big scale, like to where you need a ladder to climb in it. Isn't that cool? So all of that outside of it, it really does look like the scales of a fish. It's so cool. And I right now just put the link up to where you could actually go and purchase that for a Christmas gift at Bass Pro Shops. But this week, David has graciously, we always choose a winner. And if you like, comment, and share, you will be entered to win an RC truck. And I think a couple other things that I'll let Christa and David tell you about. But make sure that you guys check that out because it is a great gift. I have one, but I still have it in the box that was autographed. And I'm not sure that I want to take it out of the box. I think I'm going to do a collector thing. So I'm going to have to buy Ben one of his own.
Yeah, it's definitely been a roller coaster with it, though. And still working on another possible bigger deal, which I've told you a little bit about that, but we don't know which way it's going yet. But if it goes the way we think it's going to go, it will be a very, very big deal. So we'll just have to stay tuned and see what happens probably after the first of the year.
Good deal. Well, I hope it works out for you. I know that we're coming on the close of our time. But one of our top fans, I guess, I don't know how to say it, but Peggy has always been so great. She just put up that she's learned about the history of fishing and historic anglers. And, that's the great thing about our country is despite everything that's going on, with hunting, fishing, and the outdoors, we have such a strong heritage as our country. Globally, fish. It's just a great thing to get out there and enjoy fishing. So y'all, if you haven't, I'm kind of rambling. I'm sorry, y'all. But what I'm trying to say is get outside, go fishing. Look, and you can follow David online at his Facebook page. We'll put the link there for you. And there's a Bass On Facebook page too. Follow him. Maybe you can go see the truck, take your kids out, engage with somebody that is representing the sport of fishing and bass fishing specifically. I remembered because, the bass are an important part of our fishing heritage. And go check out David and his truck. And if you can, looking for a great gift, I know my grandson's going to love the remote control fish. Christa, truck.
Fish truck. Fish, right?
Bass truck. Bass truck.
David, before we close out, is there anything that you'd like to say, and then we'll finish up for today?
Yeah, just probably the main thing is, just simply enjoy. And I always say it all the time, just catch a smile on those kids' face. People don't realize how fast that time gets away. And when it's gone, it's gone. You can't do a rewind. Well, you can have another one because then you've learned from your mistakes. But if you don't catch it right then, it's gone. So, I sacrifice a lot of time not doing tournaments, not doing fishing or whatever. And if I have Gracie, it's okay, let's do a family thing and make it all about the family while young enough to enjoy it. And that's what it's all about.
Thank you.
You simply just have to have fun.
Yeah, it's about let's get outside and let's have fun. All right. So just as a quick reminder, everyone, like, comment, and share to be entered and eligible to win the awesome remote control Bass On truck that David showed us there earlier. If you're not winning it, because we only can pick one winner, they are for sale at bassproshops.com. And I believe Karen has posted the link in our comments.
Yes, ma'am.
Grab them today. They'd be a great under the Christmas tree gift and fun to play with that day and days to follow. So let's talk a little bit about last week. We had Mary Ashley with Primos on talking about custom calls. I'm not going to lie. I hung up from our live and ordered my family's custom boot puller. And I know I have a couple of instructors on our Shoot Like a Girl staff that have done the same thing because they messaged me. They had no idea that Primos had the customized boot puller. So they've done that as well. You can check that out and reflect back in our lives. But we have our winner from last week's live, and that is, my phone just closed with my notes. Hold on. Susan Kobe. So Susan, I'll reach out to you and grab your address, and we'll connect with Primos, and we'll get your prize pack out to you. It is the holiday season, and so that means, I mean, you can take COVID 2020, everything, add the holiday season to it. Mail may be a little slow. Let's just be patient, but it will come, I promise. Don't plan to give your gift for Christmas morning if you're concerned about the slowness of mail at this point. We look forward to seeing you next week. It'll be probably our final show before the end of the year, because it is the week before Christmas week. And we're going to leave you with one final thought, everyone. We're looking at changing our day and time for our lives in 2020. Many people have gone back to work. 2021. Many people have gone back to work, right? So we chose this time originally because people were home. And you are watching it in replay, but if you could see it live, is there a specific day and or time that would be best for you? We'll kind of tally all those results and see what we come up with. As you know, we are go with the flow. So if we try something and it doesn't work, we'll try something else. But we're not leaving. We'll be here, Facebook Live. So see you guys next Tuesday. Y'all have a great rest of your week. David, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, ma'am. Enjoy seeing y'all. Hopefully I'll see y'all at Daytona.
Oh, yes. In Daytona in February. We'd love to see you there, and all of our followers as well.
All right. Y'all have a great day. Bye.
Bye.